something, and it doesn't make any sense why it's there. And we're back.
And we're back.
And we're back. She was going to show baderech ZOOMSHTEIG number 108. The schools of the hostages and the soldiers.
Oh, man.
You know, maybe 1% of the world is like the Shivas, like bombers, like the elite, or like they call themselves the elite. The Satanists, pedophiles, maybe it's even less than 1%, maybe 1% of 1%. We'll call it 1%. And we'll say that 98% of people have no idea what's going on. No, because I heard it's more complicated. That 1%, let's say they use 2% to be like their puppets and politicians and stuff to control the rest of the 96%. And then there's 1% of like people in the world that like know what's going on and are trying, the soldiers, and are trying to help the 96% of the captives that are being propagandized and absolutely bamboozled and lied to and controlled from understanding what's going on. That they're being controlled by the 1% and the 2% of
Sounds
the
about right.
Sounds
about right.
And so, belechtecha baderech, making moves to mekadesh Shemayim, and to shteig Torah to mekadesh Shemayim. And we're learning about a Maisa, and we're living a Maisa. Zok the Heilige Gemara, Bava Basra, Dav Ayin Gimel Amud Beis. The Amar Rabba Bar Bar Chana, he says, V'didi Chaziali, Hahi Akroksa. I saw that as a frog. Dahavya Akra de Agronia. Now I got to tell you guys something. 3 days into the sugya, meaning yesterday or today, I got a request from Scotty Sivko, from our Roman Catholic Chavrusa, B'nai Chabura, that shteig with us, and he said to me, he was like, I love coming to shir, but like I have no idea what's going on. You can tell me something in English. And so I sent him the Gemara on Safaria with the English translation as well of this story. And I got a little bit more clarity. We were saying that this town is called Acre de Hagronia. And we were correct. The town is called Acre de Hagronia. But what it means is Fort Hagronia. So we're dealing with a fort. Okay, so that's a new word. And so what I'm going to do, and even if you didn't have the Gemara, if they don't have the Gemara, everyone's learning and everyone's steiging. But if these videos are watched by people in the future, which Abishur should give humanity siyata d'shmaya, that these videos can reach them, they can steig along Torah with us, steig in Geula. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a number 1 on top of the word Akra. If you want to be really yeshivish, you know what? Let's be really yeshivish, or write an aleph. And we're on the road, but I wrote a small aleph over Akra. Now it's a small Gemara, so I'm going to write this on the bottom. But if you're using a big Gemara in yeshiva, and you can write a big Gemara, so you can write it on top. And I'm going to write that aleph. And I'm going to write for the aleph, we're going to write fort. And so when I'm learning the Gemara, I'll see that aleph, and I'll know that Akra is fort. And so this way, I'm not writing the word fort on top of Akra. This is a mahalach in Derech Halimud that I learned from a chavrusa in Miami. When I was in Miami for Pesach, I said, I don't want to go to Miami, Mom. She said, I'll get you a chavrusa. I said, fine, I'll come. And this chavrusa taught me this method. His name, what was his name? Something with a K. But I wanted to say, now speaking of saying B'Shem Omro, right? Bam, bam, bang, bang. speaking of Vishem Omro, the joke that I told, we're doing like a sketch of like the Gra being a parent. I and Sham last year, but I said the joke of Rashi in the show. That Rashi, whenever I go through it, I go through the joke again. But the same Omro, my tati told me that joke. I had to think about it. It's a great joke, right? Rashi's wife comes down. You know, hey, oh, but he doesn't come into Bava Basra. So TK slugged up that joke. Speaking of Hashem Omro, and so that Yid, that name I'll get to maybe next year, he taught me that method, and I would like to teach it to my Talmidim and anyone who's watching or anyone who's following along with the Gemara right now. That's what I did. I drew the olive and I wrote fort. Fort Agrodia, Kama, Havia. How much is it? So it says Stein. Bate. It says Stein, which I thought was two houses. But in Sefaria, they had the gears the Shin Yud Tav, or they had the Nekudos. And the Nekudos was Shitin, which is 60. So 60 houses. Now shteig.
Yeah.
60 houses. That's what I call a big frog.
The biggie frog.
That's what I call a big frog. I thought we were dealing with a mini two-house frog.
It's a large frog.
City frog.
Much larger than we
the frog
initially
keeps getting
thought.
bigger. So, after Tanina, a Tanin came, a sea creature came, Bala, and ate it. Asa Pushkansa Bala, the raven came and ate it. The Bala Tanina ate the Tanina. Visalik away. Yaziv Ilna, it sat in a tree. Tachadi, come and see. Come Navish Ele the Ilna. How is the tree? Amar Abba says, Bar Shmuel, son of Shmuel, Elo Avoy Hazam Lo Haimni. If I wasn't there, I wouldn't believe. And so this week we've seen the Gra, his parish. In Paris, Gra Kama Aggados, I think the Sefer is called. And we've been schlepping along this English Sefer that has in the back. I feel like we did the Gra. We covered a lot of the Gra. And like we know Pshat in a lot of the Gra. And we've said it on camera and we've understood it. And it's been very geschmack. I want to finish with the end part of the Gra. This part that Rabba Bar, son of Yitzchak, he says, if I was not there, I would not have believed it. So that part of the Gra, I think we can get more clarity in, and then we'll move on the Siyata Dishmaya to Likutei Moharan in the third parak where he talks about this. That's the whole parak. He also references it in the 15th parak. And Abish will give us Siyata Dishmaya, and maybe today and tomorrow, whatever we can do today, Abish will give us Siyata Dishmaya. Without further ado, Amar Bava Bar Shmuel Ilav Havoy Davoy Hazam Lo Hemna. I wouldn't have believed it. So the Gra says something cryptic that we skipped over the first 3, 2, whatever, how many times you saw this. Perish Hasam Be'eretz Yisrael. So if I wasn't in Eretz Yisrael, says the Gra, I wouldn't believe it. Now everyone knows that Hasam is Eretz Yisrael. They're talking in Talmud Bavli. Everyone knows Hasam is Eretz Yisrael. Why is the Gra tell me that Hasam is Eretz Yisrael? Is the Gra saying that like if I wasn't in Eretz Yisrael, I wouldn't have believed this story of the Torah helping up, or of people being machzik Torah? You see people being machzik Torah in Eretz Yisrael and in Chutz La'aretz. So what? So but Gra is madgish that the story is an Eretz Yisrael story. Don't think that this is not an Eretz Yisrael story because it's talking about Talmidei Chachamim and sometimes having issues, and the Torah is holding them up. But also it's the Tomchea Meushar. It's the Eitz Chaim V'Ila Machazikim Ba. We saw in the Gra. Says Rabba Bar Shmuel, if I wasn't there, I wouldn't have believed it. Says the Gra, if I wasn't there, I wouldn't have believed it. Lo Hemni, I wouldn't have believed it. Mibnei Lefi Shev Bavel Lo Ra Klal Machzikei Taira, because in Bavel he didn't see Machzikei Taira in Bavel. V'bazeh Yuvan Perush Ki Shalom Aleichem Rabbi H. Tatzor Al Kol Ha'ir. We're doing the end of the Gra, and then we're moving into the Rabbi Nachman. He keeps on. So first, we're saying all of these issues. We said all these issues and the different issues they represent: the frog, the sea monster, the raven. They represent different difficulties and challenges facing a Talmid Chacham. And the Torah is the tree that sustains them, but the tree is not for the learners of the Torah. That's not the reference of the tree. The learners of the Torah, the machazikim, the ones who help Torah be learned in the world, and Torah could be helped learned in the world through many ways. It's obviously not only monetary, but also it's teaching. It's teaching, but it's helping. It's helping. Right, teaching is helping the Talmid. Also, monetary could be a way, but that's what the Gra is saying, that it's machazikim, but it's tomchea, it's the supporters of Torah. That's what this lesson is teaching us. That the Gemara gives us three different types of Talmidei Chachamim that have problems. The frog that the Gra says was a reference to a Talmid Chacham who learned, but he got eaten by the Yetzer Hara in the water and that's the tanin, and the tanin, and the raven is achzari al banav. Is cruel. Okay. And the tanin was another type of Talmid Chacham that I said in yesterday's shir, that if I wasn't there, today's shir we're talking about, if I wasn't there in Eretz Yisrael, says the Gra, then I wouldn't have believed it. So why does that? Let's try to understand what they're talking about now in the context of talking about Eretz Yisrael Torah. And he's saying like this. He says, for this we can understand the explanation of Kitazur al Ir Yamim Rabim, when you're coming to besiege a city many days, Lilachem Aleh, to fight it, Litovza, to capture it, Umefarish b'Zohar Balak, and it says in Zohar Balak, Reish Nun, Shemazir Kadosh Baruch Hu Midas Adin Amikadri. Kadosh Baruch Hu warns Midas Adin. Shalom Aleichem Rebbetzin. So Kadosh Baruch Hu warns Midas Adin Amikadri. V'yavaresh Kitzas Bratim Baderech Acher. He's like, I'm going to explain a little bit what it's talking about. When it's talking about that you're besieging a nation for many days, Yamim Rabim, Hin Gimel Yamim, how you doing? They're talking about the 3 days that are known, which is Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and they're called Rabim because they're difficult days. So when you're besieging Hashem on those days, right? Kitatzur ha'ir Yamim Rabim, when you're besieging Hashem in those days, what? Are we going to war to conquer something? Maybe we're going to war against the Yetzer Hara. Maybe during those days, the Yamim Noraim, we call them. But according to the Gemara, they're Yamim Rabim. How you doing? And they're big days. And that's why maybe you could say that's why we're makbid not to eat almonds, because it's Gematria Chet, even though it's one off. These are big days, and we want to be mafish from the Yetzer Hara so much we don't even want one off of Chet. We don't want anything close to it. The ayin masha gazavti Megillas Esther, and check what I saw in Megillas Esther. Now lemaisa, I have Megillah Esther, who's a zeichet to find there's a Yahoo. But also the Maestro, we're not going to be able to see this Megillah Esther because I don't have it on me. But we're getting closer to see the bears that go other places. Maybe we should have to have this right. Abishur will has his dinner. Lo dashkid as Eitzah. So when you're coming to fight the Eitzah, don't destroy the tree. Right? That's Eitzah Chayim. Lamachzik Talmidei Chachamim. Right? Don't destroy. When you're coming to beat the to fight against the Eitzah, don't destroy the people in our lives that are supporting us. You know, sometimes that are helping us, right? And however the help is, when it says don't destroy that AIDS. That's someone who helps Talmid Chacham. Lindoach alav garzen elu adinim. You shouldn't judgments. I don't know. You shouldn't. I don't know. What it means to destroy a Talmid Chacham. Shouldn't maybe I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. So in the meantime, just don't bring the judgment. I don't know. He mimenu tochal, because from him you eat. And this is talking about also the Talmid Chacham to to the Talmid Chacham, to the Kehila, or to the Alma, to the Ayla Makadesh. Rabbi Waxman, he would call the people in Shir, he would call them the Aylam. So the Aylam, it talks about the Talmid Chacham, the Aylam, Kimimena Tochal, because from you they eat. But also it's the Talmid Chacham and the one that are machzik him, that he's eating from them. It's a very beautiful relationship. Kimimenu tochal, it could go both ways, the chayra. Ki adam eitzah. Wait, hold on. Don't give him the dinim, whatever that means. Kimimenu tochal. And that's a pasuk. That's part of the pasuk. Come on, and it says in Zohar, let's talk about the Torah. Shehu chayim, we're living from the Torah. Ratzalom, what does that mean? Shekol haolamos nizunim b'shvil Torah. All of the spiritual galaxies are being sustained from Torah. V'lechein oso lo tachris. Don't destroy him. Ki adam eitz sadeh. So when it says in pasuk, Ki adam eitz sadeh, it says perish. Hakim shel tamidei chacham, who Hakim shel tamidei chacham, that the tamidei chacham is able to exist. Who ayidei eitz shemachzik bo. So the Gra says in this riddle, the tree that these three Talmidei Chachamim that are all wrapped into one, even if they're all wrapped into one and they're all in the Ori, and he's cruel and he's not even learning anymore, and also whatever the Tanin represented, the Yitzhahara, he's struggling with his cover. That was it, right? Struggling with I'm learning Torah so people think I'm pretty. And all of that could be sustained by the Torah, but not yes, it's that it's sustained by the Torah. That's not enough Torah to sustain a person, to save him. But he needs the support. That's the Eitz Chaim HaMachazikim Ba. Lavo mibanecha b'matzor, to go into besiegement. Perish mibanecha mipnei midas adin. Oh, so it's midas adin, the judgment. Gevura, sha'ata mekatreg alav, that they're trying to bring us down, maybe. Sha'al yidei ha'etz hu boreach, from the tree he runs. Mipanecha she'ilulehu, without him ayabolea also atanin, it would swallow him up. The serpent, bilachatzo v'dolko, with all of his pressure. This is again more puzzle. The grudge basically this could be a parish on Sukkim. Where is this in the farm somewhere? Raga the one that you know, Kilo Eitz Michael, that's not an Eitz Michael, She'eno Machzik. Tell me the Ramim is not a Machzik. Tell me the Ramim or don't touch this. For him, you can cut out of your life. You can destroy it in this world. I don't even. I mean, I don't want to. I don't like the idea of this Talmud Chacham, this hypothetical Talmud Chacham. What? There's someone who doesn't support him, so he's gonna destroy him in this world and in the next world. That's the din with the tree. But you know that the tree you can destroy it, right? Someone who's not machzik Torah can be destroyed. Ba'almadin, u'ba'almadaz in the world that comes. I have no comment on that. It sounds like not like something I would encourage. Kamosha Amru b'Zohar, it says in Zohar, v'beis matzor al ha'ir asher hi osa imach milchama perish kiarishayim afilu b'shas misazin. So when a Rus is going to die, he's still going to turn his neck. He's going to harden his neck, and he's going to deal with mekach and memkar, mem hey mem, and it's like not right, but not the Eden. The Eden are compared to Yonah, neck, which is a concept that I find hard to understand. This because we're tough, right? We're not. The Torah was given the home that wasn't given on the desert because no one steps on us. So I'm not posting, some of our Yaina does that for Nimshal to Yaina. It's a big question that I have on that Nakuda. They make him milchama. The Yetzer Hara is fighting with us ad radas until eventually he die. Yid Chalila transitions, and like we're fighting Yetzer Hara the whole time. But now the tzaddikim, they're like, "Yo, Yetzer Hara, I'm not scared of you. I'm not scared of death. I'm not scared of the Malach HaMaves." Perush al Adama on the land, Sha'az Nocha Kitrov. Because then he calmed down the Malach HaMaves, the one who's Mekadreg, Minadin, maybe, right? Midas Adin, Me'alav, it chilled from him. Kemosha Amru Vayishayer as Yonah. Ve'amora Yam. Oh, Yonah was himself. This is in Yoma. Ve'amora Yam Mizafo. Ayin Sham, and check his version, Yonah, what he wrote. He's just referencing what he wrote in Yonah about a Yid not being afraid, not being like afraid of the Malchalav, is afraid of death. Abishur has his finna given us the Shema. Could be saying a stickle in Emuna over there. The Kavanas Maimar Zeh al Mechusari. Oh my God! Oh my God! Yes, I went over it today, and I was like trying to study again, trying to understand. Could be they saying a stickle in Amuna. I said Zak Deheli Gra the Kavanas Maimar Zeh al Mechusari Amuna.
Wow.
Saying a stickle and people who have no Amuna. They say I'm too poor, I can't learn. I'm bugging out too hard, I can't learn. Life is too hard, I can't learn. You know? Kimosha Amr, like it says in Erevin, Ani Liftoris Kololam Kulo Minadin, and it's about Shtickle in Erevin, I can be Pater, everyone from the Din. Shim'in those Indian, the Shchor, talks about something with alcohol, with drinking, drugs. Below miyayin, but not from wine. There's that garam. Blias taninas espardea, and this is why the tanin, the sea serpent, swallowed up the frog. Timosha amru, like it says in Saita, Amar Rabbi Elazar. Mira, what does it mean that when it says kimi baz b'yom katnos? who's gonna, right? It says in Pasuk, who Baz is like, who doesn't take seriously the day of their smallingness, day of Katniss, which could be death day. Mi garm le tzadikim sheizvaz bizu shulchanan la'asilavo tam chacham or tzaddik, that he doesn't take seriously his table to the future, the world to come, is Katniss shahaya bahem, because they were Katniss. They were like, right? Shalo Heminu B'Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Like, yeah, they were tzaddikim. They called them tzaddikim, but still they didn't have emunah. And this is all a shtickle in emunah. That's another thing, maybe. That, oh, and why is he talking about emunah? Because he's saying, if I wasn't there, I wouldn't believe it. Says the Gra, that thing that he's saying, if I wasn't there, I wouldn't believe it. He's teaching us a very profound lesson in emunah. There's another pagam in the Talmud Chacham. Is not having a Muna and a Kaddish Baruch Hu. I am Perish Rashi. I'll see check Perish Rashi in that Gemara in Sota or in Eruvin that we don't have on us. V'chein Amru b'Chagiga, and it says in Chagiga Chabakuk ve'midan al Achas, that he said Chabakuk came. We saw this in Chagiga, and he said no, it's all on one. What exactly he's talking about? I'm climbing. He says v'tzadik v'emunah so yechya. It's all about the emunah. V'chein sidru v'tehillim yechoge v'yitzov yitzo'o kishachir. Right, they're like bouncing around like a drunk. V'kol pishachem hizbala, and all of their kishachir is maybe like a settlement or shikor, and all of their sins will be swallowed. And so the Gra, when he's saying all these things be swallowed, he's obviously making a reference to why are these animals swallowing each other's animals? The swallowing is a reference to the Amunah, and he's explaining that with the Amunah. Listen, that's the end of the game. We spent 3.5 days on that Gra and doing Chazara every day, or 3.5 days. Yeah, we did Chazara. And we stagged it, and it was Gavaldik. Any words about this story before we move on to Rabbi Nachman?
Geschmack.
Yeah, pretty crazy, right? Geschmack, Machzike, as yeah, so many Geschmack and Zachin. I can't wait to do Chazara on it. And now we're gonna see what Rabbi Nachman says. So I went through Rabbi Nachman today. And it's my first time really going through Likutei Moharan in my whole life. And I found that in the first 18 halachas, he quotes like 15 shtikalach in Likutei Moharan, in the aggados of Rabba Bar Bar Chana. And the only one he quotes twice is our shtikal with Tzfardea. And so with the Akroksa. And so let's see what the Eibishter does. The first thing we have is the Akriksa is Gimel, and his mamish, he starts in 15. He kind of brings in a Kroksa in the middle of the shtickle, in the middle of the thing. He's talking about something else, and he's like, "Oh, let me bring a Kriks, let me bring a good friend, the frog." But here he starts with the Maisa. Rabbi Nachman, the Hilger Rabbi Nachman starts with the Maisa. Amar Rabba Bar Bar Chana l'didi chazili hahi Akroksa dehava ki akra dehagrodi. I saw a frog the size of the Fort Hagrodia, the Ankara Hagrodia, Fort Hagrodia, how much? Shitin Bate, 60 houses. Azza Tanina Bala, the sea monster came and swallowed it. Azza Pushkanza, the raven came, Bal Alis Tanina, ate the Tanin, the sea monster. The Salik Yazi Be'elna, he left and he went and he sat in a tree. Tachazi Kama Navish Chele di Ilana. Come see how strong an Ilan is. And that's the whole shtickle that Rabbi Nachman quoted. He did not bring the part of Rabba Bar Shmuel, who said, Ilo Havya Sham Hasam Lo Hemni. If I wasn't there, I wouldn't believe it. And the Gra said a whole crazy shtickle. That is, this whole thing is a shtickle in Emunah. And we saw it in the Gra. And the Gra tied that back into the swallowing. Somehow unbelievable. Rabbi Nachman doesn't even bring that part in his drasha. Hine, Misha Shoman Nikina Minagin Rasha. Someone who hears a song from an evil singer. We'll say, for example, Taylor Swift. Kashdalo La'avodas Abore. It's hard for him to serve Hashem. V'chishesh Shomea Miminagin Kasher V'Hogo Hagon. But if he listens to a singer who's kosher and who's Hogan, if you listen to Pasha Herenstein, and listen, Pasha Herenstein is doing his best to be kosher and Hogan. You know, like he says kosher and Hogan, a singer, if you listen to Ray Waxman songs, if you listen to Shlomo Katz songs even, perhaps. Lahavdil, but no, yeah, Lahavdil between Shlomo Katz and Ray Waxman. But L'chayra, Shlomo Katz, I want to give him a shout. And his music is, I'll give my stamp that it's, that it, Azai Tovlo, so then it's good for him. Commotion is bar, like we will explain. Kihine, listen, I just want to be zochet to make music that's kosher and hagon, you know? Maybe she should give us that tishvaya. Kihine. But it's not even that the music is kosher hagon, it's that it's not a thing in the music, it's in the menage, says Rabbi Nachman. What about the menage? Okay. Like we'll explain. Kihine, kol hanegina nimsheches min ha-tiparim. The song, the sound of song, it comes from boy. Kid the east of Medrash, like it says in Medrash, mitzora ta'arazo tuluya b'shtei tziparim. Why is the purity of a leper dependent on two boys? Chaim tohiras, and they have to be alive and they have to be pure. Yavo kalania. Come a disaster and come bring come a disaster and come bring kapara on a disaster, kapara atonement. Kalani is a weird word. I think it means disaster. Kinik nilka machamaz kolo, because the reason kalania. Yo, I take it back. A good thing that I blibed. I said I think. That was enough of a blibe in the situation. And I was like, I think. I took myself off from saying 100%. Kalania Kashmania. The lashon of Kalania is the coal. Come a singer and bring atonement on, or come a voicey, a loquacious vocable, and come bring atonement on a loquacious vocable. It's lashon kol. It says kinilka machmas kolo shediber lashon hara. This guy talks lashon hara. Why else did he get saraz? Nimsa mishu kasher nimsheches and negina shalom min shtei tziparim chaim tohorim. So, someone who's kosher, his song, his niggin, his tune comes from the two birds that are alive and pure. Because of the Zohar, and it says in Zohar, that these two birds are now, as mentioned above, Yonkin me'azer de Nevi'im Yankin. They take from the place that the prophets, they suck from the place the prophets suck from, like that they receive. That's why the Chazan, who's supposed to be a singer, by the way, the Menage and the Chazan, they go Chazan Lashon Chazon, that means a vision. Hainu Lashon Nevuah, Kilokech and Negina may other than Nevim Yankin, because someone who sings, he's basically is taking his tune from a place where a Navi takes from. Ukishtem Amenagen who Rasha. I mean, the Menagen is a Rasha, like pretty much a lot of very much a lot of mainstream Islamic pushing Satanism, you know. Ice Spice, for example. Oh, Shabbat, I'm thinking Harry Salman. I don't even know why I said I think Spig, but great to see. We were just talking about how important it is to listen to music from a kosher person. Now it talks about listening to music from a kosher person and a Huggan person. What about listening to music from a tzaddik like Rabbi Waxman? Or a tzaddik like Shlomo Katz? Shadiber, right? There's he gets from the bad birds, from the owl. That's Drake. His mom is Drake. Yo, Minagi and Harasha, Drake. And that's why he has an owl, because he's bringing from the bird of Klippa.
Does it say owl?
It's a huge chiddush. But this is shot why Drake has an owl tattoo, because he's bringing from a Tame bird of Klippa. He's not bringing from a beautiful Yaina.
Does the text say owl?
No, great question. Great question. I said like an owl. It says Tiparim Achero Shebeklipa. So I started thinking, what's an evil owl? What's an evil bird? Owl. DVJ is saying, what about a crow? Even better than an owl. I'm putting my owl shot that I wrote on the side in parentheses.
Is a crow and a raven the same thing?
Oh, legs, raven.
Is a crow and a raven the same thing?
It's a good kasha. I think I've been using them slightly interchangeably, but I think raven might be a little bit more accurate. But we've been talking about crow ravens, like
my question.
They might be the same thing.
My question is because didn't ravens bring Eliyahu Hanavi food? So are they taka bad birds?
Live and fair over here. You know, if you wanna look up the difference between a crow and a raven and get them a core for that Eliyahu Hanavi Maisa story, and to tell that too, I would be down. You want to get the difference, but we'll do that for tomorrow. But it's a good question that you're asking. But we have ravens doing something over here, right? You know, the frogs, ravens. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's a good sushi show. Because of the Zohar, ki atziparim shebekli b'yonkin mitade amalchus. Let's go. The tziparim that are in the klipa, where do they? It says really yonkin is like to suck or to feed from. We'll use feed from. They feed from the Tade Amalchus, from the nipples of Malchus. Vikad is Peleg Lelia Kidain Kiroza Karez. That's crazy. At midnight, like a herald. You know, sometimes like this might be nothing, but you know, sometimes the crows or the raven quoteth the raven. Oh, we got to see Edgar Allan Poe for this sugya. It's a din. The raven. It says like something maybe at midnight, or maybe it's an owl talking about saying things at midnight that it called. Katsiparim achuzos b'pach, like birds holding onto a garbage. Kahem yokashim b'nei adam. Yukashim. Shlomo Yaakov,
Yeah,
do you have the Rabbi Nachman? Harry, do you have the Rabbi Nachman? Does anyone have the English Rabbi Nachman?
yeah, I have it.
All right, what is Yukushim? How do they translate it in that book? Yukushim.
What lesson is it? Lesson
3.
5? Lesson 3?
Yeah, Katibor Machuzos Bach Kahem Yukashim B'nei Adam. And I want to touch of Yukashim. Oh, we only have 4 minutes. The Atikun who Sheyachol Lishmo Nagina Mikol Adam. But the Tikun is that you can listen from all people. Wait, this might be huge. Who Al Yidei Sheyilmad Balayla Torah Shabbat Peh. Oh, that's what we're doing. How can we listen to Eminem? If he's a Raja, because we're learning Torah Shabbat Peh at night. Hainu Gemara on when they were talking about Gemara, Shehi Bechinas Laila, because Gemara is the Bechina of Laila. These measures, like it says, measures. Kishaya Moshe Bahar Arbam Yom Laila when he's on the mountain 40 days, 40 nights. Lo Yodea, but I didn't know day night. Rak Ali Dezek Kishaya Lomar Torah Bichsav. When he would learn Torah Shabbat, I Yodea that it's Yom. Learning Torah Shabbat day. Torah Shabbat, I know it's Laila. Nimsa, we see Torah Shabbat he bechinas Laila. That Torah Shabbat is beginning of night. Kamosha Amar Rabba like the rabbi, because I'll say, "B'machashachim o shiveni." In the dark places, sit me. Sa'atam with Bavli. This is Bavli. Except the Choshech, right? Bavli is considered night. The Choshech Karalayla, at darkness he called night. Hanu Ayudei Sheyomad Shas, the Isakin Hashiz Azakim Shepakana. You know what? I'm going to pause right here. We have 4 minutes left. We did one paragraph, 3 minutes left. Strings. What does Yukashim mean?
Okay, so Yukashim, Katsipurim, Ha'afuzos, Bapak, Kahem Yukashim B'nei Adam. So I'm just saying, hold on, I'm looking for the taich.
Pak Yukash. I got it. I know that word. They got ensnared. They got ensnared by it.
He's quoting a pasuk.
Let's go.
He's quoting a pasuk. He's quoting a pasuk in Koheles.
Yeah, Papak Yukash. I know that pasuk. That's like I was like, oh, Yukash, Papak Yukash. They get ensnared. Okay, Givaldic. They get cooked. They get the birds. They get caught.
Yukashim, I think, is entangled.
Entangled, also good. Yukashim, entangled, ensnared, both
That's
good.
What they're saying. Yeah, you're right.
Sky.
1 minute.
Let's see if we can get this thing. We have like a minute left. The Zeu Kumi Runi Balayla. That's why it's tough at night. Right? I know I did she make shots. You learn shots. You're talking a shish as dagim shebekana. We were talking the 6th something. Shemehem Yoter Kol. The voice. The 6 voice makers in the throat. And that's why it says Kumi Runi Balayla, come out and Rooney sing at night. Hanush at the 8th Tikuma the Harina. The singing the happiness should be at night. Be awakened. Hanu Aida Laila through the night. And what does it mean? Night? That's Shas. Ach Kishalamed Shahu Lishma. But when a person's learning, Shalamed Lo Lishma, someone's learning not Lishma. Hanush at Kare Rav, they call him Revi. Halimud Eino Bechashivas Gokach. The learning is not so Lishma. Ukishalomed Balayla, we learn tonight. Chuchal Chesed Nimshach Alaf Umakein Alaf. Chuchal Chesed comes on him and protects him. Shul Yazik Lo Amachshava. And now that the thought of, I'm learning so that people will think I'm pretty, like the brothers, or people think that they call me Rebbe, like Rebbe Nachman. This shouldn't happen. Unbelievable that we saw this Rebbe Nachman. He also talks about that somehow they both knew. This is talking about Talmidei Chachamim, and this is talking about Tyra. And I'm sure the tree is something that also let them know. But we see our first Rabbi Nachman that we really saw in Shir, Shkayach Gadol, that was Myradek
Shkoyach.
That was really my ridiculous. It says talking about Torah. We learned at night Torah about learning Torah at night in Rabbi Nachman. We were zochet today to learn a sugya with the Gra and Rabbi Nachman, and we brought unity between an old machlokas and like that. To the learning Torah, a Talmid Chacham is made. To the learning of Torah at a Talmid Chacham also is called Boneh Melum Dea. But the Basra it's Chayimi Lemachzik Ima Vesomcha Meyusha Derech Darkeno Bechol Nezivos Shalom Hadzivenu Adonai Elecha V'Nachshuva Chadesh Yameinu Tikedem.